We finally got our first look at the brand new Carnival Festivale. Welcome back to another video, everyone. My name is Brandon. If you like cruise news, cruise vlogs, and ship tours, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And if you enjoyed the video, of course, be sure to leave it a like as well. But let's go ahead and hop right in. So let's go ahead and start with the basics here. Carnival Festivale will be the fourth ship in Carnival's XL Class. The XL Class, of course, is very highly successful for them. That is currently consisting of Mardi Gras, Celebration, and Jubilee. She'll be sitting at 184,000 tons, making her the largest in the fleet, at least at the time. We've got Project Ace in the background, keep in mind. But with that, she also has a maximum capacity of 6,600 guests. With a total construction cost over $1 billion, she will be completed in 2027 as one of the largest ships to ever come out of the Meyerwerft Papenburg shipyard. She's set to make her maiden voyage on May 2nd of 2027, making a 15-night transatlantic voyage before she arrives in Port Canaveral. Once she arrives in Port Canaveral, she'll be sailing 6-night Eastern Caribbean sailings along with 8-night Southern Caribbean sailings, visiting places like Celebration Key, the new private island, along with popular destinations like Aruba and Curacao. Even though the Carnival Festivale will be a fourth in class for the Carnival XL Class, she will be significantly different than her current sister ships, the Mardi Gras, Celebration, and Jubilee, in several ways, and that's what we're going to talk about today. One of the biggest new features that we're going to see is, of course, Sunsation Point, which is one of the first things that they showed off in the original announcement, but now we finally got more details on it. Sunsation Point, if you can think of Carnival Waterworks, the water parks that are on all of the existing ships, turn that up to 11 and you've got Sunsation Point. 6 different water slides, tons of different levels of, casual all the way up to extremely thrilling water slides. We'll even have slides like the Sun Soaker raft slides and even the Turning Tides, which is a racing slide where you kind of race down together, which is very, very cool. It is going to be by far the largest water park in the entire Carnival Cruise Line fleet. But Sunsation Point doesn't stop at just the water park. This spans decks 16, 17, and all the way up to deck number 18. 16 will, of course, be the lower level. That's where you'll find the aft pool, or in this case, they're going to call it the Vista Pool. Basically, they get a little infinity pool in the back, and it will also have Shaq's Big Chicken, all sorts of things, kind of like you already see in the back of the XL Class ships. But when you move up to deck number 17, that's where you get the Vault Retrocade, which is basically the arcade. Not only is it an arcade, but it's also like a family fun type of area. You get a really nice overlook and nice views from out the ship, but there's also just kind of fun games like Giant Jenga. I'm assuming you'll get like cornhole, things like that. And of course, you get the little bar as well for everybody to hang out at. One thing I also find really neat in this area is that it's like a little mini ropes course where you kind of walk through the netting between all of the water slides and all the water fountains, waterworks, like a little obstacle course, but you climb through the netting. MSC kind of has something sort of similar to this on some of their ships, but it's a really cool thing, and it's much different, and you definitely don't find this on any other Carnival ship at the moment. And a really cool thing about Sunsation Point, and also just the waterworks, water park in general here on the Festivale, is that for the first time, they're actually planning to have this open in the evening or at least at night for certain hours. Normally, if once the ship is, past maybe 5 p.m., they kind of shut everything down for the day. But here, they're going to bring it into the nightlife and bring the actual water park experience into the nightlife of the ship, which is really awesome. And the really cool part about the Sunsation Point area is it looks like there's going to be fun for all ages here. Whether it's the thrilling water slides to relaxing at the Vista Infinity Pool, to hanging out at the bar, just grabbing yourself a drink and playing some poolside games like cornhole or, anything like that. It really looks like they're taking the emphasis on family fun and family, being connected with everybody on the cruise. There's not certain sections of the ship where it's kids only or adults only. There are adults on the area, but like this specific area is made to be fun for all ages. And it seems like that seems to be the focus for this ship as well, is being connected with your family. And even has 1,000 connecting staterooms, which is by far the most in the fleet, which of course, connecting staterooms are always preferred with families as you can kind of keep the rooms together and kind of keep an eye on the kids or, kind of go in between the rooms when, you're all together. It seems like Carnival's really aiming to go back to their roots here as the fun ships. Not that they haven't been, but lately it seems like, it's like hectic, insane party crowds that, are disturbing half the ship, but the other half of the ship is, going off the walls. But this seems to be more geared towards family fun. And I think that is definitely a lot more valuable to Carnival and a lot more valuable to your everyday cruiser as well, is the family fun rather than just off the walls party vibe. But now let's move below deck, down into the promenade in the lower main areas of the ship. We have the studio. The studio seems to be a really neat music themed area of the ship called Studio 724. Now, this is going to be the long stretch. You'd see like the fortune teller bar and, the alchemy bar above it, Emerald's Bistro, that type of area. Here we have the studio, and it even looks like the alchemy bar has a completely new location, as the mix seems to be in the place where we would find the alchemy bar on the Mardi Gras and the other ships. Down on the lower deck here, we have the Spark, which is actually where the fortune teller bar, for example, on Mardi Gras, is located. The Spark bar is actually going to be themed and inspired around iconic songs and also even have some live music, whereas the Mix bar will be right above it where we would see the Alchemy bar on the existing XL Class ships. And it further goes into the music theming of the area, which is really cool. And another really cool thing about Studio 724 is that there's a really cool lighting effect system. There's synchronized lights and animations. It's all interactive. So some of these lights and panels and effects is things that you actually can physically do inputs with, which is something we briefly saw with the Jubilee, where there's kind of like ceiling tiles and you can press a little tablet and it can change the effects on there. So it'll be something similar to that, but tied more into the musical theme into the area and all the lighting effects. But although the theming will be completely different than anything we see right now, the layout will be very familiar. So if you have been on all of these ships or some of these XL ships before, you will feel right at home and kind of get a general sense of the layout still. And as I mentioned, the Mix bar will actually be taking the place of where the existing Alchemy bar is. But if you're a big fan of the Alchemy bar, don't worry, because the Alchemy bar is getting its own dedicated area of the ship. If you're familiar with Mardi Gras, I'm using this as an example because I've personally sailed on her as well. So I kind of get a familiar of the theming and lounges. But the French Quarter bar is actually where, in that entire area, that is where the Alchemy bar will be, in that entire section of the ship. So it'll be a massive area and probably one of the largest alchemy bars in the fleet. So if you're a big fan of the alchemy bar, don't worry too much. You're probably getting one of the best versions of the alchemy bar in the fleet. And moving back to the mix, because it kind of ties into this next area, the festival up on deck number 8, you'll even find places like Festival Grounds Coffee Bar, which will actually be a specialty coffee area within this musical themed section of the ship. Also within this area, you'll find Pizza Palooza, which of course is Carnival's pizza area. And then of course you can't go wrong with a nice pizza on a Carnival cruise. And I've also found there, you'll also find the deli rolls, or the kind of the deli sandwich shop on board the ship as well. If you're familiar with Mardi Gras, the pizza and the deli are basically right next to each other in that area of deck number 8. So again, going back to the layout will be extremely similar, but with the music theming of this ship turned up to the max. There are a few returning areas of the ship as well, including Summer's Landing, which of course is a XL Class favorite. That is the big area in the back of the ship with the infinity pool, the outdoor area, the brewery, and even the barbecue. Now, we didn't get a whole lot of information if that will be changing, whether if that's going to get this major retheming or what, but that will return, but we'll get more information on that soon. Another place similar to that will be the Grand Central, the big atrium-like area as you first walk on board these ships. No new information on that, but likely is going to be a little bit maybe rethemed, but going to be exactly what you remember it being if you've been on some of these ships before. And that's all we got in our big announcements from yesterday in the Carnival Festivale's big debut coming in the summer of 2027. I've got to be completely honest with you. I was mildly excited for this ship whenever I started making this video, and by the point now, I am extremely excited for this, and I may even book it. I don't know. But this ship seems absolutely incredible, and like I mentioned earlier, I do think they're kind of going back to the roots of being the fun ships, but not just that, but the family fun for all ages. So I think if they can really capture that, like it seems like they're aiming to, I think the Carnival Festivale will be not only a huge hit for Carnival, but a huge hit for all cruisers. Let me know what your thoughts on this ship are down below in the comments. Will you be planning to sail on board Festivale when she debuts in the summer of 2027? I think I might be. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.